Hey y'all, and welcome to another episode of the Millennial Management Podcast. I am your host, Brandy, the Millennial Manager, and today is Friday. I want to say happy Friday to you. We made it through this week, okay? Shout out to Patreon for sponsoring the podcast. They pay $6 per month to sit on live with me. We have little chats throughout the week. We post videos inside of the group, and I am just so thankful for the community that has been built on Patreon. I really appreciate that. And it has just been such a great experience because I'm like one-on-one with my supporters and like in the DMs. New experience. So many cool people learning so many cool things, and I'm just very thankful for the community. If you would like to join, it is $6 per month. Also today, y'all, I have a really good topic that I would like to continue discussing because I have received so many emails about just bad managers as a whole. And I think that there are so many levels to this. And I did a video about this on social media. At first, it started out talking about your manager is turtle. Okay, that is the problem. You have a turtle manager, and y'all know what turtle mean if you follow me on social media. But we talked about it, and I think, a lot of people really gravitated to that video because it helped them realize some of the things that they have been struggling with. And so I want to talk more about that so that we can really get these things out in the forefront and start having conversations about how everybody is not a turtle manager, but some people are mediocre. Okay. And whether they mean well or not, we know that harm has happened under mediocre management because they are either way too busy, like they're overwhelmed. It's so many things that can go along with that, but we just need to discuss the nuances, okay? And then also some of the identifiers. How do we get to this place to begin with? So what are some of the signs, okay, of a turtle manager? If you want to know whether or not you have a turtle manager, how is the communication line? Okay. Is it low? Meaning like you are not finding out information that is very important to your job, sometimes until it is too late or right before things have to happen. And thus everything is an emergency because nothing is communicated effectively or properly. Okay. Number one, that's the first line. If you have been struggling with communication within your department, your organization, whatever it is, if communication is a low priority to your company, then it is going to be a big ass problem for you because you got to know what the fuck you're doing in order for you to be able to do it properly. Lack of communication, poor decision-making skills, okay? You either need, well, not you, but this manager needs a lot of support in making a decision versus just them weighing out the pros and cons of whatever this choice is and then making it. Because sometimes you got to be the person that like, hey, let's knock this shit down. It is time. We're starting over. We're not doing this project. We're not moving forward. And you cannot wait on everybody else's input. Sometimes you have to be the person that sees things from the bigger picture because nobody else is willing to see them, or they just can't see them because they're in the trees, right? You can't see the forest from the trees. Okay? And when you are in management, you have to kind of come above that so that you can see what the fuck is really happening. So maybe this manager is struggling with decision making. We know that micromanagement is one of those key signs. This is right up there with communication. Like if your manager struggles with communication, they have an extreme level of micromanagement, meaning that they have to oversee everything that you do. Everything has to go through them. You're not allowed to make any decisions. They are a micromanager and they are only controlling you because it masks their level of incompetence. If they do this, this is how they cover it because now I'm controlling everything. I'm controlling your output. And so it looks like I'm leading you when in reality, I'm just controlling you. I'm not allowing you to really make decisions on your own or be supportive to you as a leader. I'm not doing that. I'm not helping you forge your own way as a leader either. Number 4 is inability to delegate tasks effectively. This and micromanagement are hand in hand. They are besties. Okay, you got a manager that cannot delegate. They feel like, oh, I'll just do it myself. When they do this, they then in turn complain about being overwhelmed, or they'll complain about the team altogether and say that no one's helping them. They're not pulling their weight, such and such. Okay, they're going to go through this whole list about the team and complain about not really having the help or support, or just say that their team is not capable of completing this task. When in reality, you just need to delegate the task and you need to make sure that you support your team in completing those things. That does not mean do that for them. Okay? I think that sometimes managers forget, hey, I don't have to delegate and then turn around and determine how these tasks are supposed to be completed. No, I am delegating the task to the person who can do this because I know that they are capable of doing it. And I don't need to hold their hand and make every decision and be in control of the situation. I need to release control and I need to allow them to be able to do these things on their own. And this is a part of delegating. And if you struggle with that, or if you have a manager that struggles with that, you are going to have to release slowly. Okay? Start releasing things to your team in doses. And that is going to help you with this part, because I know people who have struggled so much with delegation because they feel like, oh, they're going to mess up and then I'm going to have to fix it and all this other stuff. No, you need to show them how they messed up and allow them to fix it. You don't have to fix something just because. So this kind of like this last part, I feel like, or this particular section where they have an inability to delegate, I think it kind of goes along with those mediocre managers that we were talking about. Like these people, they don't mean to do harm, but this is a very harmful thing that they do. It still happens. The harm still exists. And while they did not intend for that to happen, like that's not their goal, it still happens. And now it's like, how do we stop that? Because I don't believe that every manager wakes up every day and is determined to be a bad manager. I just don't believe that. But I do believe that there are some people who are just overwhelmed. Maybe they have a different management style than what you particularly care for. Or you got somebody who just has like a lack of resources. Like there's a other side to this. And this particular one with the delegating task, I feel like it can kind of go in between those two areas. Like bad managers do it, but then also so do mediocre managers. They do this as well. This last part I would have to say is bad managers, like this is their dream. This is what they live for, right? Because they know that they're inadequate. They know that they can't do these things. And so when they have a star on their team, more than likely they're going to take credit for the things that they do. They're going to take credit because they don't have any other shine on their own. So when someone great that is on their team does great things, they are going to take credit for it because they are insecure and they don't bring anything else to the table. I hate using that saying because we know where that comes from, ignorance. However, that is the case. Like they don't bring anything to this team. And so they're going to take credit when they have these superstar people on their staff. And it really puts those people into like this place where they feel like my manager is taking credit for my work. Like, do I report them? And then it just leads down this whole rabbit hole when you could just support them. You don't have to take credit for what people do. You can say, yeah, my team member did this. She's great, or he's great, or they're great. You can just say that these people did a good job. You don't have to take credit for their work because you're insecure or you just have this chip on your shoulder where you feel like you have to take credit for every single thing. Now that we talked about like the signs of an incompetent manager, I want to talk about how we navigate, okay? Because we talk a lot about what these people are and how to identify. Let's talk about how we navigate these things. The best thing that you could ever do when you have a manager that does any of these things is document. Document your conversations. If it's a verbal conversation and they said some things that you want to make sure are on the record, always follow up with an email that questions what that conversation was about. This is just following up on our conversation during lunch. I just want to clarify that this is what you're wanting. And when that email goes out and they see it and they respond, then you have something that is documented from them that confirms like, okay, we are on the same page. Because if you do not force a streamlined method of communication or making sure that you are on the same page on your end, everything is going to be your fault. Do you hear me? Everything that you don't know and that you do know, okay, it's going to be your fault unless you have some type of communication that is documented via email. If you all use Teams, if there's some type of tracker, when you use the project manager section of Microsoft Teams or Microsoft Office, they have sections where notes can be placed and you can see who left the note, who left the edit, who made this change. It's just documentation is the biggest friend that you can ever have, or the best friend. I apologize. The best friend that you can ever have at work. Because if you do not document these things, none of it ever happened. And everything is a figment of your imagination. Because if nobody documented, then Brandy is dreaming this. It did not happen. For a manager who struggles with communication, you always need to make sure you document, and then also do not have like a public confrontation with them. If you see that they are getting like combative because they may be struggling with communicating idea or thought in one-on-ones, then maybe you should have meetings that, or not one-on-ones, but in meetings where like everyone is present and you feel like they're confrontational because they're being pushed or being challenged in some sort of way, then you always need to retreat. Because if it's a manager, guys, okay, if it is a manager who is in charge of how successful you can be, going toe to toe with them never results in your best interest. Ever. Not unless you got a lot of support on your side from your HR department, from their director. Maybe if you all have a CEO who is present in the office and can be within earshot and can correct them. Like the stars have to be aligned in a certain way. Like you have to have team members who are willing to file a grievance and put their necks out. Like it's so many things that have to happen, and going toe to toe with a manager is not a good idea. Not in a sense where you feel like it's going to be beneficial for you. If you know that you have a manager who struggles with communication, you always need to put everything in writing. Any one-on-one meetings that you have need to follow up with an email all the time. Never have a public confrontation with them. Even if you feel like they're confronting you, do not engage. Because what they are looking for is to get you out of character and say, well, she's disrespectful. She's, insubordinate, or he's insubordinate. They're this, they're that. Not if I don't give you that. If I don't give you those things, then you cannot say anything about me. You can't say that I'm combative or I'm defensive or I'm insubordinate if I'm doing exactly as you requested via email. Okay? I'm putting it into words now. You cannot combat that. And so that's where documentation and having those things on your side is going to be very important when you're moving within corporate America. Always remember that even consulting HR is a little, it could go either way. Okay. If you have a supportive HR department who values like transparency and wants to make sure that the team is valued and supported, when there's an issue or a grievance is filed on a manager who is doing some very bad things, they're going to address it. But you have to use other people as an example. Okay. Look at how they did such and such. Look at how they did Billy from accounting. Okay, when he had a situation with Susan, when he had a situation with this person, how did HR handle that situation? And that speaks volumes. It helps you know which way you want to go when you are filing your report, because we know that when you take things to HR, they analyze and they evaluate, and sometimes they do take your manager's side. But there are some times where they actually listen and evaluate the information that is given to them by the team member, and they value what they're saying, and they say, you know what, you are the problem, talking to the manager. Okay, but it can go either way. It could be 50-50. So you have to make sure that you know what type of HR department you have. Like, are they messy too? Are they talking about staff? You know, HR is not like this person in the sky. Like, they are people on the ground, and they get messy too. Okay, they're not this set apart group. They can get messy just like everybody else. They can talk just like everybody else. And so kind of gauge what the HR department is like. And company culture goes right along with HR. Okay, if your company culture is kaput and they do not value anything that is team-based, it is solely just individualistic. They make everything a competition. Everything seems like a mind game in this company. Like, HR is not going to be on your side. Okay, that dictates what HR does. If you work.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Skims, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
For a good company, more than likely they are going to have a good HR department who is going to want to make your experience good, which is also going to make sure your managers are being developed and not just sat in a position with no training, no type of evolution, nothing. It's just like this person just sitting here and they don't have the skills that they need to be able to support you, which kind of creates this dynamic between the two of you. So pay attention to the company culture, and that's also going to be how you make your decision as well. All right, everybody. So now we are about to hear from a few Bettys. I got a good email to start us out, and let's get going. This one says, "Good evening, Brandy. Hello. Hello, how are you? I recently started following your page. I'm so glad that I found you. So many of your videos are what's going on at my job." That is actually very scary because I talk about a lot of negative things and I get some flack from it because people are like, there's positive things that happen in corporate America. I'm like, yeah, there are. Get online and talk about them. But we know that there are some bad things too. And there's so many levels of just negative experiences that people have inside of corporate America and just working, period. And I really want to make sure that we bring those to the forefront to get people ready for being in the workspace. But let's continue. It says, "I work at a church office." Now, some of the messiest people is at church, okay? There's a school that's part of a church. So both church and school work closely together. I'm attaching an email chain from today between the principal and myself. Her emails are usually rude. She's not my supervisor. I report to the pastor, but unfortunately, he's not much help. He tells us to look the other way when situations come up, but I'm not doing that. Her reply today topped the cake. Thank you in advance, Betty. Okay, so we're about to read this email chain. The first one is from our Betty that says, "Good morning. Attached below is the information for blank to access her Gmail account. If she has any issues logging in, please have her contact me. Blank." That's it. Okay. Now let's see what the hell this lady got to say. All right. Here we go. "Hey, Betty. All right. I will print this information for blank this time. Next time you create a Gmail account for school personnel, please bring the information over to the person you are creating the account for. I was not hired to perform secretarial duties for you, Betty. You can let the staff member know the sign-in information and the instructions if they have issues logging into the account." Whoa. What the fuck? Girl. Betty. First of all, she is not your boss, but your pastor is not going to do anything about this because he's probably like a passive person. And this person right here has a dominating personality, so she's going to dominate any conversation. Look at how she just emailed drama to you. I would respond, absolutely. Just one word. I would not go toe-to-toe with her because it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Reply absolutely. You know what that's doing? Giving her nothing. She is looking for a fight. That's why she sent it to you. Because she wants somebody to fight with. You're not giving her that. Absolutely. Have a great day with a smiley face. Unbothered, and I don't give a damn. Okay? No, ma'am. All right, on to our next email. This one says, "Hey, Brandy, I work as a coder at a blank." I'm not going to say what that is. She's been there for a year, she's been there for a year, Betty has. They offered me a team lead position 7 months ago, and I accepted it. With a discussion about a raise with my manager, they have reached out to HR, and they still haven't gotten back to me, so I'm assuming it's just time to move on. Also, we have about 72 providers. I am certified. Wait a minute. Wait a goddamn minute. You accepted a position without a letter or anything in writing. You did that, friend, 7 months ago, and you ain't got shit in writing about your raise. So you still making the same thing, and they gave you, oh my God. And you asking me, is it time to move on? What the hell do you think now? What you think, Betty? What you think I'm gonna tell you? First of all, don't ever do no shit like this again. If you get offered a position and there is not a letter that comes along with it with an offer, okay, typed out and documented of what you are supposed to be paid, do not accept it, okay? At that point, this is just a talk. This is not an offer. This is not a promotion. We're just talking. Because what the hell? And you probably been doing all this work for 7 months, and they may or may not go back and pay you for this 7 months. Girl, you are better than me, okay? And those of you know exactly what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. This is a little turtle. This is a little turtle, baby. We can't do this. No, ma'am. You know what you need to do. Okay, this one says, there was an incident that happened on the job where I was talking amongst my peers about the job. One of my peers, she used to be a manager and she no longer is. She came in and made an outburst saying, if you don't like the job, you should leave. She was right about that. And I called her a bitch. It wasn't her place, first of all, and she should have never said anything to me not knowing what the conversation was about. So instead of them calling me into work, they took her side of the story and asked my other peers about what happened. The other peers recorded what was asked. She told them she doesn't know and they need to ask me. So now they are trying to micromanage me on everything that I do, which they can't do because I do my work. I'm in the process of trying to get another job. It's because I ask valid questions regarding my work and I don't know, and they don't know. Never got back to me about the question asked. I don't know if I'm considered a threat or a challenge to them. I just use, this is so funny. Why did you call that girl a bitch? Oh my God. Okay. Ma'am, you do not like this damn job. But the problem is you are too vocal. Okay? While she should not have said anything to you, you shouldn't have been talking in the first place. Okay? If you do not like your job, what do I tell y'all? Keep it to your damn self. Do not tell anybody. I don't give a fuck what your peers are doing. I don't care what they're saying. If it's just a hate this job fest, you are going to be the person that is called out and you are going to be the person that is made the example for everybody else. So it's just best that you keep whatever disdain that you have for this job to yourself and in your heart. And when you leave, you go get your therapist or you go get a gym membership and go punch one of them things out there. You do not tell anybody that you don't like your job because now they're trying to force you out before you're ready because you're still looking for a job. So this is the video that I just did this week, literally coming into play in real time, like play by fucking play. Okay, so do not ever tell anybody that you like or that you do not like your job. When you are there, I love this place. I don't give a fuck what they're saying. It's great. It's not that much. I don't even notice how much work it is. I don't give a damn if it's you lived in a 2-ton. Don't say nothing, okay? Because you are not ready to leave and now they are starting to apply pressure and it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. So if I were you, I would learn from this. Do not try to go toe-to-toe with nobody because it ain't worth it when your ass is not ready to walk away. You only go toe-to-toe when you got some other shit on the side. You ready. You got something that can supplement your income. You got something else. But if you ain't got shit else, you ain't got no spouse that can cover the bills. You ain't got nothing in the ace. You ain't got no savings. You ain't got nothing. You keep your mouth shut until it's time for you to make that move. Okay? All right. And on to our last email. This one says, what if you are at your job and all you hear is, why are you always number one in sales? Or girl, you always sells out, meaning like she's always meeting her goals. She's doing a great job in sales. How do you handle this situation without being rude? Let me tell you something, honey. You know what's worse than somebody who cannot do their job? Somebody who's good at it. Okay? Some not just good, great. So much so that they're number one. Number one often ends up with the target because people are always trying to beat that person. And it's a breeding ground for jealousy. So the way that you deal with it in a gracious way is just say, I'm just going with the flow. You know? Don't act like you're outworking them. Don't act like you're doing better than them. Just be humble. I'm going with the flow. Okay? Let your numbers speak for you, not you. Because the worst thing you could do is lean into, I'm so great, I'm so this, I'm so that. And then it's just going to be a mess. Lean into it gracefully. I'm just going with the flow. And that's it. We're doing great as a team. Keep it team focused. Okay, that takes the pressure off of you. Congratulate them because I'm telling you, jealousy at work, baby, it is some of the toughest roads that you are going to ever have to walk, because if they are jealous of you for one reason or another, it is just stressful and it's unnecessary and there's no need to breathe oxygen into it. It's always good to just kind of, bring down the flames. And the way you do that is by just being gracious. I'm just going with the flow. We do great as a team, circle that thing around and put it back on them to take that attention off of you, because your bosses are already paying attention to you and they know that you're good at what you're doing. And so there's no need to feed into any of that other bullshit, because that doesn't really matter. Okay? All right. Well, that's going to be it for today's podcast episode. I really appreciate y'all listening and rating the podcast and telling me your experience. If you want to send your email over to the podcast, send it to the Mill, MILL, management pod, POD, okay, at gmail.com. Also, remember to join the Patreon. We will be going live tomorrow night, which is Saturday. We're going to be going live at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be talking more about management. We're also going to be pulling out some other topics from my little notebook, because I've been seeing a lot on social media. So we're going to be talking about those things. If you have any questions, make sure you email those over. I am so thankful for this community. I really appreciate y'all listening to this podcast and making it chart. Okay? For real. Thank you. I'm so thankful. I love you guys. Y'all have a wonderful day, and I will see y'all on the internet. Bye-bye.